Welcome to another episode of SportsVibe, episode 106. Deep into the series, but we're gonna be shifting gears a little bit from the college football playoff over to the NFL playoffs. This week's kind of like a little bit of an overlap week, a little bit of both. But I guess after this, we'll probably be shifting more towards the NFL playoffs. And recapping the national championship game. But yeah, it's been a lot of a lot of football this past weekend. Going all the way back from Thursday to Monday. I mean, just like a lot of football, and it's always an exciting time to talk about the NFL playoffs too. I mean, like, nothing better than that. So yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I guess we could start with the college football though.
Well, I was
Um,
thinking you might want to start with the housekeeping things in order and the difference in the different exciting news that might be
oh,
coming later
sure.
down the line.
Yeah. Right. I mean, yeah, so we're actually recording today like on a new platform, meeting. So we're going to be partnering with SRATV. We're going to be broadcasting from there starting in March. We'll still be streaming to the YouTube channel at the same time, as well as their YouTube channel, their Facebook, other platforms. So yeah, we'll still be going through our platform, our YouTube channel as well. But pretty exciting news. We'll get to have more viewership. Maybe even start charging for tickets for people to come on once we get our names out there. But basically, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a similar type of show that we do now, kind of sports, year round. It kind of had a little bit of a hiatus, and wasn't really sure, but with this coming back, I mean, kind of made sense to bring it back. Do it on a weekly schedule. We're supposed to do 40 shows a year, but I mean, we'll do it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably about right. But as sports goes on, we'll be talking about all the different things. But yeah, so starting March 1st, we're going to be streaming on their platform, as well as ours, which is going to be really cool. We're going to be on SRA TV. In the meantime, we're still going to be on YouTube, as well as their channel in March. But until then, we're going to be rolling forward with our show on YouTube the way it's been, through the NFL playoffs. Next month, we're going to be doing the Winter Olympics in February, talking about that, which is going to be super cool. That only happens like once every 4 years. So yeah, and then once March comes, we'll be officially launching over there March Madness talk, which maybe we'll try to get some special guests on for that at least. Then once we end up on SRA TV for bracketology, for March Madness, things like that. But yeah, it's a really cool venture. Definitely allowed me to kind of bring this back. Like I said, I wasn't really sure that was going to happen with the bells must ring, but now that we kind of have a commitment, it kind of made sense to bring it back, get more viewership, and all of that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, just to kind of simplify that point, a lot of exciting stuff coming. We are going to be teaming up with SRA the beginning of March. Um, from that, we're gonna have great interviews for you guys, great guests, special speakers and whatnot. Be able to deliver higher content for the people that do tune in to this podcast. We always appreciate you. Now we feel like we can have a better opportunity to give back to what you guys give to us.
Exactly. Yeah. No, we definitely appreciate the viewers who watch this podcast on YouTube. So, taking it to the next level will be something really cool. I mean, I had a meeting yesterday. I mean, we talked about, some of the other shows, like how this is going to work and all the opportunities that, will be had. Yeah, I mean, like, basically, like what we said, it's gonna be pretty cool to be able to have guests, have more people able to view it on different channels, really spread what the show's about, and give something like of high quality that more people get to see. So I mean, I'm really excited about that. But it should be pretty fun. In the meantime, like I said, we're going to be ramping up with football, with the Winter Olympics, all that kind of good stuff. So I mean, yeah. So first of all, I mean, I guess going back to college football, semifinals are now in the books. So I mean, we could talk about that. The first game I think was more exciting than the second one, between Ole Miss and Miami. It was a back and forth, definitely a back and forth game. Both offenses and quarterbacks really like played well in it. Trinidad Chambliss, as well as Carson Beck, who's kind of had some. They both finished with 23 for 37. Carson Beck had 268 yards, Chambliss 277. All the playmakers went off. Mark Fletcher had a good game on the ground for Miami. Kawan Lacey had a 72-yard touchdown or 73-yard touchdown for the Rebs. And then, Keelan Marion had over 100 yards receiving. Deshaun Stribling at 77 yards receiving. So it was kind of like a shootout game. Ole Miss had the lead. Miami had the lead for a while. But Ole Miss kind of chipped away using, with field goals. Miami defense kind of held up. In the fourth quarter, Miami went to score a touchdown. Carson Beck threw a 36-yard pass to Malachi Tony, who's been an electric playmaker. And then the Ole Miss answered Trinidad Chambliss, finding Wright for 24 yards. They got the 2-point conversion as well. So they went up by 3, 27-24. But in the final seconds of the game, it was Carson Beck getting the game-winning touchdown, with the scramble. So I mean, yeah, I mean that scramble was pretty interesting because it was like he just didn't have anywhere to throw, but he had a bunch of green grass, so he just took off and scampered into the end zone. I think he couldn't even believe how open he was, and that's how Miami won the game over Ole Miss. It was definitely very exciting. It looked like Miami kind of had it under control, but when both teams started scoring touchdowns, it was kind of like anyone's game. But yeah, Miami had the last laugh, or they kind of had the ball. They kind of had the ball last, and once they started scoring touchdowns, and they were able to get into the end zone that final drive. So Miami going to the national championship game at their home stadium at Hard Rock, thrilling victory over Ole Miss, who themselves had a thrilling victory over Georgia the week before. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much how the game went. So I mean, I guess what were your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, you know what? After kind of harping on the Miami fans for way too long, they really made me sit down and eat my lunch there a little bit. You know, uh, still have my doubts if they're going to be able to take it home against Indiana, but that that home crowd advantage because they're playing at home. Essentially,
Right.
this is not a neutral site. This is a home game. Um, it's definitely going to play a huge factor for them. In all honesty, I I don't know if that game was ever really in doubt either. You know, like
Yeah, I felt like I said, it's like kind of felt like Miami kind of had control of it, but then in the fourth quarter, it was kind of like anybody's game. Yeah, I think Miami was the better team. I think that kind of showed up, but then like once I guess Chambliss started going, it was kind of like I don't know, you know what I mean? I felt like Miami was gonna pull it out. Like it looked like they were the better team all game, and then Ole Miss kind of like started scoring matched Miami's touchdown, but I don't know. It felt like Miami was gonna win. Like, I was pretty sure the way they were playing that they were gonna be able to pull that one off.
Yeah, I know Miami, sorry, not Miami. Old Miss grabbed, oh no, not even. Old Miss was trailing by 1 going into the 4th quarter, but then they got the field goal, which put them ahead by 2. But I don't know, after that Miami touchdown, that 4 play, 75-yard drive, which is just insane to me, like 4 plays. That's
Yeah.
how what kinda told me that Old Miss just was not gonna keep holding on. I understand that they took the lead off of a touchdown after that, but once your
Yeah,
defense
the 4 play
starts to give
drive.
up that against a national championship contender, it's hard not to say that you're cooked. I don't
Yeah, I feel like the
mean
defense
to put it in such juvenile terms, but that was the moment where I'm like, okay, I think you're done here.
Yeah, it looked like their defense was kind of cooked when Miami just started scoring points or when he started moving the ball with ease on them and the 36-yard touchdown. They went down in 4 plays, scored in a very quick 2-minute drive. So it was just kind of like they were just kind of having their way with it. And even though Ole Miss came back, like it felt like Miami was going to be able to score once again. So yeah, no, that's pretty much how that one went. So the U obviously getting the win. I mean, they're very like and even before that, I mean, Carson Beck had a touchdown, a 52-yard pass to Marion. Keelan Marion. So I mean, there was a lot of explosives going on in that game. So that's not something I would have thought with Miami, the way that they run the ball and the way that they usually have played in the previous games, but they have playmakers too in the receiving game, and I think between Tony and Marion, I mean that definitely showed up. I mean Carson Beck played a really good game. Like there's a lot of like he was kind of like more like game manager, tends to make mistakes, but he's really stepped up. I think in this game. In the previous game against Ohio State, they didn't really have to rely on him too much, or the game before that, A&M. This game, they did really have to rely on him to make the big plays, to go stride for stride with Chambliss, and that's exactly what he did. So I mean,
But you can't
props
just
to
you
him.
can't discount what Beck has experienced. Like, yeah, he's not the most athletic, but at the end of the day, he's been there before, and that's
Yeah,
arguably more valuable than any sort of athletics. I mean, let's be real. I'm not gonna say the kid is Tom Brady. He's not, you know, but Tom Brady had been there before, and you saw his combine videos. He was not an athletic kid. He wasn't an athletic quarterback. He could hardly move. However, he had sometimes the mind that you get from experience can make up for not just regular talent deficiencies, but possibly even severe talent deficiencies.
right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's not obviously the most mobile quarterback, but he could deliver the football. I mean, that's what the most important thing is. And there's been accuracy concerns, but the two touchdowns were, pretty incredible. And even moving the ball down the field and getting the game-winning touchdown when it could kind of, was in a place where it could go either way. Like, yeah, I mean, that game definitely really delivered to the hype. So Carson Beck definitely stepped up in the biggest moment. Now he's in the championship. On the other side of this bracket, Indiana versus Oregon. This one was very one-sided. Right from the get-go. I mean, pick six on the first play of the game by D'Angelo Pons. Oregon did answer. They had a nice drive for a touchdown to get to 7-7. After that, it was all Hoosiers. I mean, their defense, forced turnover, not turnovers on downs, but punts. Their offense, I mean, was lights out. I mean, touchdown after touchdown. I mean, it was 35-7 after the half. And after that, it was whatever comeback Oregon had, it was all for nothing. I mean, and Indiana did not
Hoo
stop.
hoo
Yeah,
Hoosiers.
Indiana did not stop scoring in the second half either. They still had another three touchdowns. But yeah, exactly. It's all about the Hoosiers, as
Hoosiers.
yeah, I love doing that Hoosiers chant. But no, I mean they were dominant. I mean they're winning on the lines of scrimmage. They're absolutely physically dominating the Ducks. I mean getting pressure in the backfield, really rattling him. I mean Dante Moore had another like just he kind of whiffed and dropped the football, but I mean that was kind of bad. But other than that, I mean they just didn't give him time to throw. So I mean the pick six, and other than besides the pick six and the turnovers, they had three turnovers. Besides the pick six and the fumble, I mean they just didn't give him time to throw. Did not let until like kind of garbage time. But Indiana, meanwhile, Mendoza was lights out. I mean 17 for 20, 177 yards, five touchdowns. I mean it really doesn't get better than that. I mean Surratt had two touchdowns for IU. I mean it was just Kalen Black had two touchdowns as well. Charlie Becker had a touchdown. Omar Cooper had a touchdown. They really have, EJ Williams had a touchdown. I mean, between Surratt and Cooper, those guys are the big play threats. But Charlie Becker has really stepped up this postseason from the Big Ten championship game onwards. I mean, he's just delivered in the biggest of situations for Indiana, and he's now they have like a three, kind of like a three-man like receiving core, and like Becker's almost become like the second best on the team behind Surratt. I mean, both of them are deep threats, and like legit weapons for Fernando Mendoza, who's just, I mean, unbelievable person and quarterback, and I mean, he's just delivers the ball on time. I mean, puts it where his receivers can catch it, and offensive line playing very strong. The run game was good, so I mean, everything was just clicking. But Mendoza was just absolutely showing why he won the Heisman Trophy, and getting the ball to his playmakers, and Indiana just absolutely ran away with it.
Yeah, I mean, also, what else can you say about Mendoza that hasn't been said a billion times already? He's a great guy. He's a great, leader of men. He's a great quarterback. Young,
Right.
you know, and exhibits, excellent leadership and is a great guy that people can rally around. But man, you know, every single time, or at least these last two playoff games, Indiana has just made these teams look like children. You know, like
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
literally.
like if it's a momentum thing. I don't know, but it's like it's like they can't do anything right. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
Indiana
even like
like
yeah.
completely suffocated Alabama and basically walked Oregon out of the building after the first interception. So, like,
Just ran it up after they scored 7, it was over. It was just like, like Indiana's got the ball, scored, 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 forced punts on defense time and time out and, other, yeah, I mean, besides the pick, I mean, and the fumble, they just didn't let Oregon really move the ball. So it's just like suffocated them completely. And meanwhile, on offense had no problems. I mean, it's like these are
they're
good
doing
college
so good
teams.
that
Like,
people are accusing them of cheating.
yeah,
Let's just point
they're
that
doing
out.
so
They're doing
well that people are accusing them of cheating, which there's no evidence of that. But I mean, in this day and age, I guess
yeah,
after the whole Michigan thing, I mean, that's how good they're doing. They look like an NFL team against college teams. Like, I mean, these are good college teams. And this is, an Alabama team who made the playoff. Maybe you think they're fraudulent, but Oregon, like, I mean, Oregon's was, they just beat a very good Texas Tech team 23 nothing. They wore them down. And for them to not be able to score really against, or not even that they weren't able,
make
well,
it.
they weren't able to
They couldn't even make
score.
it interesting. They couldn't even make it
Yeah, they couldn't.
interesting.
Exactly. I mean, they they kind of wore Texas Tech down in a kind of a frustrating way for like Texas Tech, and able to break through against Indiana. I mean, Indiana just ran them off that same defense allowed 35 points in the first half. Meanwhile, Oregon was not able to score like until garbage time. So it's just very one-sided. Indiana's doing this against very good teams, and I guess that brings us to the national championship game. Like, how do we know this is not going to be different? Like, Indiana's favored by 8.5. Like, is IU just gonna walk away with this one too, or is Miami gonna be good enough to hang around with them? Because I don't know. I feel like it could go either way. I think there's a chance Miami like gives them a fight, but I think either way Indiana's gonna win. I kind of hope it doesn't end up like the semifinal where Indiana just blows them out. But it's hard to know because Miami's also a very physical team too. I mean, they bullied Ohio State. In the trenches, they can make it interesting. I feel like, but I think Indiana is just too big, too strong, too fast, and really too accurate on offense to for other teams to really pose a problem for them.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do we know that it's not gonna happen? I don't think we do know that it's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I
it
mean, it's
could
not something
happen.
that
It
we
just
can
depends
guarantee.
on, I
You
don't know.
know, I
It
mean,
just yeah, it depends on how Miami, I guess, gets started. Because if it ends up like that early, that's one thing. If it ends up becoming like a game into the second half, then it could kind of be anybody's game, I guess. But even then, Miami, Indiana will probably wear them down, I guess, at some point. But yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how Miami starts the game. I mean, if they can hold on, they hold on. If they can't, they can't. Like kind of thing, I guess.
yeah, I mean, like, see, with them, it's like I there is one angle where I do want to give it to Miami. If Miami can force Indiana to play that close, gritty, just ugly game, I think Miami actually has a better chance to win that one because why? Because they've done nothing but win ugly so far.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing to makes me believe Indiana has not won ugly. They've won ugly a couple times during the regular season, but winning ugly in the regular season and winning ugly in the playoffs are two very different dragons. However, I don't know if Miami can make it that ugly game that they can win. So we'll see.
Yeah, very
Don't
interesting.
really know how this one is going to play out. I mean, it's all a mystery until it actually does. But I
Right.
struggle to see Miami being able to keep it close because Oregon and Alabama were not able to keep it close. However, if Miami can, they have a very good chance of winning.
Yeah, if they can somehow hang in there and do what Oregon and do what um do what Oregon and Bama failed to do and kind of stay in the game, keep it close, then I think they have a chance of winning because they can win the line of scrimmage. They can play physical. They can score, in clutch situations as they shown against Ole Miss. They can go stride for stride. But if Indiana just wears them down early and just builds a big lead right in the beginning, then it's pretty much over. So yeah, it's gonna be up to Miami to hang in there and survive that start. And if they can do that, then it's anybody's game, I think.
I mean, I have to agree. I don't think there's any other way to really put that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, I think it really all depends on if Miami can hang in there in the beginning of the game. If Indiana, like kind of like the Ohio State game, if it ends up like that, like it's anyone's game. And chances are
I'm still going to
yeah,
take Indiana by
chances
two
are Indiana
touchdowns.
still wins by at least a score, maybe two. But if it ends up being like that, it could be a game. It could be, Miami has a chance to win, but I think Indiana will still win. But if Indiana just goes foot on the gas from the beginning, then it's just going to be over. But I don't know. I think Miami's going to fare better. I mean, they've beaten a lot of good teams. They've done it in convincing ways. But Indiana, at the end of the day, I mean, it's just going to be. I mean, defensively, they're a menace. Offensively, they're like almost perfect. I mean, even if Miami like plays a really good game, Indiana could still beat them in a one possession game, two possession game, because they're just that good. I mean, so I mean, they could deliver for 60 minutes. So yeah, it's just, can Miami hang around? I mean, that's going to be the question. I mean, I think they have a chance to, but I think at the end of the day, Indiana, like I said, they're going to suffocate them on defense and win on offense. Probably pull away sometime in the second half, if not earlier, and get the national championship. It's like they're too good not to. Is what it feels like.
I just I don't know if there's anybody out there that can truly stand up to Indiana right now. I mean,
Yeah, after seeing how the Oregon game went, and Oregon did not lose to anybody else but Indiana. Like they were very good. I mean, like it's hard
you
to
play
say.
the game, you play to win the game. We'll see what Miami can come up with. If Miami can keep it close, they're good
Yeah,
chance they win. I just don't know if they
yeah,
can.
yeah. If they can keep it close, I think they can go stride for stride. It probably comes down to who has the ball last in that situation. But if like there's a good chance that doesn't happen. So I mean, yeah, Indiana's just very dominant. If they can hang in there, I think they have a chance to pull it off. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, chances are Indiana just either way wins the game. But if Miami can keep it close into the fourth quarter, I think it can go either way. But that's going to be on Monday night at Hard Rock Stadium. Very exciting stuff. National championship for college football on one end you have Miami. The last team making an improbable run. Knocking off another Cinderella kind of an Ole Miss, and then the other hand you have Indiana, top seed, just steamrolling everyone. So the two of those meeting, Mendoza going back to his hometown of Miami. A lot of good storylines
Well,
for
yeah, I
that.
forgot he's from Miami.
Yeah, a lot of good storylines. I mean, I don't know when the last time, well, Miami won in 2001. I don't think Indiana's won a national championship in football. So, I mean,
Nope.
they've been historically bad. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a worst to first turnaround versus like an old blue blood, kind of finding its footing at just at the right time. I mean, a lot of people thought we weren't even going to make the playoff, and now they're in the championship. So, yeah, it's a lot of fresh blood, excitement. I can't wait to see how that one goes. But in the meantime, we have a lot of NFL to talk about as well. 6 games on wildcard weekend, and almost every single one of them was a good game. It was just one of those weekends of football. I mean,
Yeah.
like, so
Well,
yeah, I
except for
mean,
the
starting
Steelers game.
except for the Steelers game, that was kind of a dud. But we'll get to that one. Yeah, that one the Steelers just kind of laid down. The first five were pretty good. Starting
Oh.
starting on yeah, the last one was pretty boring. The first five starting with Rams Panthers on Saturday afternoon. This one delivered to the hype. I mean, it looked like the Rams were kind of pull away early. They were up 17-7. Panthers are kind of last team in, or not last team in, but the typical NFC South kind of getting a team in under 500. So what were they, 8-9? I think I want to say, and the Panthers, able to survive win the division even though they lost to Tampa, but we they did beat the Rams in Carolina by 3 points earlier in the season. That was an upset at the time. So recipe for success was definitely there. But I mean, yeah, the Rams got up to a 17-7 lead, but it was Carolina fighting back. I mean, Bryce Young played a very good game, even though his completion percentage wasn't that great. He had 264 yards. I mean, both teams were going back and forth in the fourth quarter. I mean, LA was up 20-17 after Carolina tied the game, and then Carolina scored a touchdown. Matt Stafford threw a touchdown pass. Then Bryce Young, they drive down the field again, and then the Rams, pull it off at the end of the game with a touchdown, to Kobe Parkinson at the end. So it's definitely like a shootout for the ages. This line was 10.5, so Carolina played a much better game. I think they're ahead of schedule on the rebuild, but at the end of the day, it's the Los Angeles Rams moving on as expected to the divisional round.
Yeah, but you know what though? Everyone thought that the Rams were going to come in there and walk all over the Panthers because the Panthers came in with a losing record.
Yeah,
But you got to tip your cap. They took the Rams the distance the same
they
way that
did.
that Taylor Heineke team from Washington took Tom Brady the distance when they won
Yep,
their Super Bowl.
yep,
So, I just I like yeah, the Rams won, but they didn't win. They certainly didn't win convincingly against
that's
a team with a
true.
losing record. I understand
Yeah.
these are all NFL players, and the margin for betterment is not that wide. But you really have to tip your hat to Carolina.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, you absolutely do. I mean, they played a much better game. They, like I said, they beat them the first time, so there was kind of like some, I guess, hope that they could do it again. But that was kind of a big upset, honestly. And doing it a second time, especially after the Rams built a lead of 10 points. I mean, for them to come back, I mean, they played, an excellent game to go stride for stride. And yeah, I mean, like it was pretty incredible to see. They were like very competitive, and I think a lot of that has to do with Bryce Young, this offense. Chuba Hubbard. Jalen Coker, the wide receiver. I mean, Carolina just they were able to move the ball, and yeah, I mean, Ted McMillan. They a lot, just a lot of deep plays, touchdowns. All sorts of kinds. They were able to move the ball and go touchdown for touchdown with LA. But at the end of the day, it was the Rams getting through. I mean, I think a lot of people saw the Rams as like kind of a sleeper team this year. The NFC West is very loaded, but I mean, the Rams are as alive as anybody. To potentially make a run. And the pieces are kind of there last year when they pushed Philadelphia, and they only got so much better over the offseason. So I'm excited to see how they do the rest of the playoffs. But I guess yeah. In the meantime, Packers versus Bears. This was another game where it was a big momentum shift because in the first half it looked like the Packers were just gonna like walk all over Chicago. Yeah, I mean they're up 21-3 at the half. The Bears cannot move the ball after the first score, and meanwhile Chicago, scored 3 touchdowns from late first quarter to end of second. End of second quarter. It was all Packers. Even third quarter, I mean the Bears did not they were not able to capitalize on any chances. They made a field goal. They were in the red zone. They got intercepted. But then all of a sudden, the fourth quarter was all the momentum flipped. I mean, they got a field goal. They got a touchdown. They got a defensive stop. They were down by 5. But then Green Bay still scores a touchdown. So we thought they were in control. But I mean, the Bears were right back. I mean, Caleb Williams played like his tail off at the end of the game, even though he threw 2 interceptions earlier. Like he just made plays, kept going. I mean, it was 361 yards, and Colston Loveland had a really good game. He had 8 receptions for 137. DeAndre Swift had 54 yards and a touchdown. Kamanungai had 27 yards as well for former Scarlet Knight there. So the double-headed rushing attack for the Bears. But I mean, that passing attack was really on fire at the end of the game. And once they got down 3, I mean, the place was really rocking in Chicago. They get the ball back, and then Williams fires a deep pass to DJ Moore, 25-yarder. And once they had the momentum, it kind of felt like there was always a chance that the Bears were going to be able to get back in this and pull it off. But we just weren't really sure like when that was going to come. It felt like even though they kept messing up, like they were like knocking on the door, and eventually like the floodgates just broke down. And then when they got the momentum, then there was that chance, and they took it. So I mean, it was just like once, yeah, it was weird because Green Bay had a bit of a lead, but that lead was just not safe. And the
I don't
Bears
know.
also,
Personally,
yeah,
I'm going for the Bears for the rest of the season. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl. I can't make that
I like
guarantee.
them though. Yeah,
However, you know, the Bears, like they're fun to watch.
they are.
They
Yeah,
know that they shouldn't be where they are, but
right, right. House
watching
money.
watching Cal Monungai just do
I
watching him
know.
do well in the Super Bowl warms my heart. but or what the thought of watching him do well in the Super Bowl just warms my heart as a avid Rutgers fan. But
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean they're just exciting. Like they're
They
fun
really
to watch.
are, yeah. Because it's
Some
just like
teams like are good and
yeah.
are just boring. Like I find the Rams a little bit boring to watch, even though they're so good. But the Bears they're just fun.
They are fun. I mean, because considering they fell behind like by that much and they came back, and it was just like one play after another, touchdown, field goal. I mean, you know what I mean. It was like they were never out of it, even when they're down that much. Because once they started scoring, they just started scoring, and and then on defense they got the ball back. Even when they're down 11, I mean, they come right down the field. They get a touchdown, 2-point conversion, another stop, another touchdown. I mean, they're an electric team. I mean, in this game, it was all about the pass. I mean, they have a couple good running backs. I mean, DeAndre Swift has, I think, done a lot better recently. Kyle Monangai has definitely been electric for them. The way he can just push through people. I mean, that's something he's been doing since Rutgers. This game, not too great of a game, but it was more about the pass. But I mean, yeah, Monangai is definitely an electric force. I mean, we know like what he could do from Rutgers, and he's definitely showed up. So they have two good running backs now in there as well. So I mean, that could definitely, both different. You have your Lightning and DeAndre Swift, you have your Thunder and Commandant guy. So, but yeah, I mean, the Bears are very exciting. I mean, they make a lot of magic happen with Caleb Williams. They're never out of a game because the way that they've won these games in the fourth quarter. Just, I mean, sensational to be able to get that win and move on to the next round. But I mean, yeah, I mean, another game that kind of played out similarly to the first two was Bills Jaguars, where it was kind of very back and forth as well. I mean, we didn't really know who was going to win this one till the very end. I mean, the Bills got a lead, then Jacksonville, and then Buffalo. Josh Allen was getting banged up, but he kept fighting.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
that was brutal though. Like first of all, how do you hit a quarterback that much and not win the game? Um,
right. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean they hit his hand, like his legs, like everything was like he was just getting knocked around, like it was really bad. I mean, but he kept fighting. They got the lead. I mean, Buffalo, yeah, Buffalo, goes up 13-7, answered by Jacksonville. And then yeah, and then Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence played a good game even though he had two picks. But I mean, Josh Allen was really the star of the
no,
show
see,
because
no, 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 no. Let's stop that right there. Two picks is not a good game. You know,
yeah,
one
I guess one pick I guess could be.
one pick can derail if somebody has a good game because it all matters of when that pick happens. No, two picks is no, two picks is not a good game.
Yeah,
The only way that you can say that like somebody having a pick during a game and them having a good game is if they threw a last second Hail Mary or they threw like a last second Hail Mary before halftime just to see what happens and it gets picked off. Like no,
yeah.
like two
That's
picks,
yeah, I
no.
guess you're right. I mean, they went stride for stride with them, but at the end of the day, those two picks definitely really did derail them. I think one of the picks happened like pretty early in the game, and the other one was like right at the end when they kind of still had a chance to tie the game or win it. So, I mean, yeah, I just didn't know which way this was gonna go. It looked like Jaguars are gonna win. And then Buffalo comes back and scores. And then kind of like the theme of the playoffs, like these fourth quarter, like touchdown for touchdown. I mean, then T Law, they go down the field and score. But then Josh Allen in the last minute of the game, he comes with the touchdown. They go up by 3, and then the interception obviously seals the deal. So it's just like both of these teams, I think, could have went a long way. I mean, I think the Jacksonville is a very good team this year. Like that doesn't often happen where they're actually very good. Like AFC South, kind of like the NFC South, sometimes to have a
Not in
week.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, they sometimes tend to have a weak winner, not as weak as the NFC South, but kind of in that same. Unless it's Houston, and even Houston's not been as good as the AFC contenders, but typically Jacksonville or the AFC South winner, not quite there. This year they definitely were, and they could have beaten Buffalo, but the Bills, I don't know. I mean, they just kept fighting. The Bills have playoff experience more than any team in this bracket. I mean, it just feels like I don't know this, like what I mean. They survived the slugfest here, but it's just like this isn't their year. Like I just don't know when it is. I mean, Kansas City's not in the playoffs this year. That's been their kryptonite. Baltimore is not in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, like I mean, all these other teams, in the playoffs like the Broncos, the Patriots. They don't have that kind of experience that the Bills have. So if there's ever a year for Buffalo to, go to the Super Bowl, it's got to be this one. But I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars definitely a very good team. I think, despite this game, Lawrence I think has been playing as good as he's played in his career. The offense has been playing very good with Washington, ETN. The defense has been pretty decent as well, but I think they just ran into a better team in Buffalo, who has that playoff experience. They have Josh Allen. They have a team that can match anybody stride for stride with that kind of a quarterback and that kind of a an attack and and a pretty good defense too. So I mean, I think they just ran into a team that was better than them. You could be a year for the Bills to make a run in this thing. But yeah, I guess moving
You cut
forward.
out a little bit for a second
Oh,
there, so I'm
go
gonna
ahead.
go off by what I heard. Um, See, like I don't like. I want to say the Bills are gonna, you know, be the strong contenders for the Super Bowl, but I can't. You know why I can't? I can't because I'm sorry, but good head coaches, right? Really, truly good head coaches, right?
Right.
And truly good teams will eventually get past that team that has always vexed them. The Patriots always vex the Colts until the Colts beat them in 2006 and went on to win the Super Bowl. You know, but the Bills never did that against Kansas
I
City. Why?
know.
Because I
Even though
just
they
don't
always
think that they're that team. They don't
Oh,
have that
even though they
special
always won
sauce.
the regular season games, they always lost the playoff games. Even when it was in
But
Buffalo,
the regular season
even
games don't even matter. Like they
that's
don't
true.
matter.
I thought maybe in Buffalo they could win, or maybe the last season. I thought the Chiefs were very fraudulent.
They
even though they were
still
winning,
lost.
yeah, even though they were winning games, they were fraudulent. Buffalo comes in there, they have a good rushing attack. Like even then, they fall short, and it's just like. And then I was like, okay, maybe the Chiefs are finally getting it together. They're kind of for real, not for real, but they put together a 30-point game on offense. On defense, they played pretty well against the Bills, and then the Super Bowl, I think they kind of just got exposed for who they were, and against Philly. I mean, even though they stopped Saquon Barkley, they couldn't really stop anything else, and Mahomes is absolutely bullied. I mean, their offensive line situation wasn't great, so yeah, I think everything that caught up to them, like just caught up to the Chiefs, in the Super Bowl, all their deficiencies, all their tendencies to just win barely by the skin of their teeth, like they got exposed. And then this year was just like so yeah, last year they kind of got exposed in the Super Bowl. This year was like a train wreck season for the Chiefs. I mean, before Mahomes even tore his ACL, they lost all the close games that they had previously won, like almost all of them, I think, except for unfortunately, like they did beat the Colts in that one, but other than that, they lost like every other close game that they played. I don't know. It's just a season off the rails. Kelsey wasn't good, but the Bills have been pretty decent. So we'll see if they can. I don't know. Without Kansas City, I mean, can they? I don't know. We'll see, because I mean, Denver's a good team. New England, like these, they just don't have that playoff experience. I think that's the only difference between the Bills and teams like that. That the Bills have more
I think your
experience.
biggest threat coming up is New England. You know,
New England looks
I
very
think your
good, but
biggest
yeah, I think you're
that's your
right.
biggest threat coming up.
Yeah, I think the Patriots. Yeah, I mean, because defensively, I mean, my goodness, we'll get to that in just a second. I did want to talk about the Niners Eagles game. I guess this obviously, as a Giants fan, made me very happy because Philly is out of the playoffs after 1 week. I mean, my goodness, I mean, like, yeah, so I mean, they fired Kevin Patullo. Their offense, like Philly's offense, just really stalled out after the second quarter. I mean, they went up 13-7. Dallas Goddard had a very good game. He had 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley had a decent game, 106 yards. But Jalen Hurts, 168 yards, 20 for 35, a touchdown. I mean, after the second quarter, they just stalled. I mean, they got a couple field goals, but even though San Francisco is very injured, there's a lot of doubts about them. Kittle suffered an injury. I don't think they're a very good team either, but they were able to go into Philly, beat them. And that touchdown from Jawan Jennings to McCaffrey, I mean, that was like, my goodness, what a play call, what a great execution. And Philly goes up, they get a field goal, but then San Francisco goes down the field, and um, Purdy finds McCaffrey for the game-winning score, and Philly can't match it. Which has just been the theme of their season. They just haven't been that good in the biggest of moments offensively. Defensively, they've been very good, but I mean, offensively, they've really struggled. After Saquon had a really good year last year, kind of not that great, but really the passing attack. I mean, AJ Brown dropped a football. I mean, like Sirianni was screaming at him. Like it's just a very chaotic offense, a lot of very conservative offense. They just really didn't
Sirianni's
attack
a
the
little bit of a
offense well.
child, though. Like, come on, he's a little bit of a
Yeah, I mean,
child.
he's been doing it to like he screams at his own opposing fans, tells everybody shut up. Like it's just like not the way like coaches should really behave. Like honestly, and it's just
No,
very immature behavior sometimes. But I don't know. Sometimes it works. Sometimes really gets on my nerves. But yeah, I mean, like like he doesn't stop for like he against the Chiefs, against the Bills, against the Giants, the head nod. His own fans telling them to to like the hush because they barely beat the Browns. Like it's so ridiculous, his antics. Like like screaming at AJ Brown in the playoff game. It's just like where does this guy like where does he stop? Like he just like
where'd you
like
get off? Like, come
yeah, right.
on.
Like you're really gonna go after your own fans, your own players. The opposing fans. Like I mean, like if
No,
players
like
didn't
I
behave
understand,
the
but
way he
doing that
did.
stuff behind closed doors is fine. Like getting after your own players behind closed doors is fine,
But
but to make a
yeah, but
public
like
affair out of it, like, come on.
on the sideline of a playoff game, I mean, like when you know what I mean? Like that's just not like the time or place. And like all the things that he does, like telling other fans to like be quiet and that's even his own fans. Like I don't know. It's just like it's very immature behavior. I feel like if a lot of players did that, like other coaches would frown upon it, let alone like a coach doing it. Like it just really doesn't sit right with me, never has. But that's just his personality. But I think it goes a little too far. I mean, for my like for a lot of people's liking. I mean, you have to keep the emotions in check. You can't just say whatever you want whenever you want and just behave like that when you're the head coach of a football team. So I mean, that yeah, I mean that's his character. It kind of matches like Philly in a way, I guess, but like it goes too far. Like I mean, it's just immature. And honestly, the Eagles just weren't really that good this year. I mean, offensively, like I said, they really had their struggles. I think Patulos, I mean, yeah, Barkley kind of had the struggles with the offensive line being a little bit banged up. He didn't have as great of a season. Jalen Hurts really struggled. The passing attack really struggled. The play calls were very conservative, a lot of hitch routes, a lot of like, just not a lot of moving the ball downfield. And I think that really did just catch up with them when they could not get those conversions on fourth down. They just could not really move the ball. And for so much talent on offense, I mean, that's just like you're really unfortunate for
Not
them.
acceptable, no.
Yeah, I mean they have AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, the same team that won a Super Bowl this year. They just can't, they can't really like, they can't score 20 points against a good team. I mean, it's just like it's just it's really not it's yeah it's really not great. And even the Niners, I mean, they got by with the skin of their teeth, but I don't know, I don't really have a lot of faith in them either. But they were able to pull off a win in Philadelphia, kind of get revenge for what happened, I guess, 3 years ago, where their quarterback was knocked out. They're already down to Purdy, who's at that point their third string. He lost his, I think he tore his UCL. Josh Johnson got knocked out with a concussion, and Niners are basically like dead on arrival. But so for them, they come back into Philly the next year, beat them pretty good. This year they kind of get that playoff revenge, and they are through to the divisional. So I mean, but yeah, I think this really says more about how bad Philly is than how good San Francisco is, because neither team really played a great game, but the Eagles just really like kind of imploded on themselves. They just could not get anything going when they needed it. Even though they had the lead, they just were not able to get the scores. They were not able to get touchdowns, and if you can't get touchdowns for an entire half, like you really don't deserve to win the football game. And the Niners, like credit to them, they were able to get those scores and get the lead. And yeah, I mean, Philly was not able to answer, so that's kind of how that one went. So another very exciting game to watch for sure, between the two of them. But I guess that brings me
I
over.
feel like I should do the Stephen A laugh. The
Yeah,
you know how he does. I feel like I should be doing
yeah,
the
for the
Stephen A laugh
Cowboys,
because
right?
everybody was
Yeah.
rooting for the Eagles to lose. Like, come on, like if you're not an Eagles
Yeah,
fan, you
they're
wanted
just
them out.
exactly. If you're not an Eagles fan, you're rooting for them to lose. They're just like one of those annoying teams, and it's great to see them be eliminated after the first round because it's just yeah, it's almost like more funny than anything. Like every time when the Cowboys lose in the first round, it's hilarious. When the Eagles lose, that's always feels good to not have to worry about them and for the rest of the playoffs and especially as a Giants fan. But yeah, I mean they're just one of those teams that if you don't like, you hate, and when they lose, it's funny. So I mean, congrats to the Niners for getting the job done and knocking out a very fraudulent Eagles team that honestly like won a weak division, but they really they really had flaws all year. And if that was not going to get exposed this round, it would have later on. So I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to happen this quickly, but because the Niners were very injured, they also kind of were limping into this, but they were able to get it done. And yeah, shout out. I mean, like they made it. They made it a pretty entertaining weekend for me, I guess. So knocking out the Eagles, but but yeah, I mean, they were able to do it.
For me in particular, me as the I'm talking on your behalf, but me as the Giants fan, the 49ers made my weekend very, very interesting.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like it's just such a great thing to see Philly lose. Like last playoffs was so difficult. Like seeing them beat the Packers, the Rams, the Commanders, the Chiefs, and each week getting in more and more dominant fashion too, where like the other team like was less and less competitive. I mean, this time around, Eagles, like I said, very fraudulent. Niners just knocked them out. So it was just great. But yeah, moving on to the next game. Patriots versus Chargers. This one was very like a defensive slugfest. I mean, there really wasn't a lot to say on offense except for at the end. I mean, Drake May had a decent stat line, honestly. So did Justin Herbert, but Drake May I think definitely outperformed him. Yeah, I mean, like the
Well, to
Patriots
be
went up
fair,
6-3.
like it's hard to even pin that loss on Justin Herbert because how many times were receivers dropping balls that were placed in their hands, or how
Yeah,
many times was Justin Herbert getting absolutely lit up like a pinata? Like, come on, guys! Like, I understand, you finally get him a head coach, do
right.
something else. Like, no running game,
Yeah,
receivers who can't catch, offensive line who can't block, a defense that's actually pretty decent. I'll give them that. But like,
yeah. Defense was actually pretty
it's
decent.
Herbert and Herbert alone on that offense, and everyone's like trying to pin this loss on Herbert. I'm like, did you watch the game? He was
Yeah.
getting treated like a
I
human
mean, he was
pinata.
like the only one doing like much, and he took 6 sacks in the game too. I mean, like that's just yeah. I mean,
That's
that's just a lot of sacks.
inexcusable. That's
Yeah, 6 sacks in
inexcusable.
one game is inexcusable. Even Drake May took 5 sacks too. He had a touchdown, a pick, 268 yards. Just a defensive like slugfest, like I said, which is why the score was 16-3. Just not a lot of offense to speak of. I mean, it was what 3-3 second quarter, 6-3 at the half. New England eventually starts pulling away 9-3, and then finds Hunter Henry for a touchdown, 16-3, and that was pretty much it on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, like I mean, yeah, I didn't really get to watch this one too thoroughly, but a lot of sacks on both sides. But yeah, it looked like Justin Herbert was like the only one who really did a lot on offense at all. And for the Patriots, I mean, they were able to win this one. They had a little bit more going on offense. Ramondre Stevenson had a pretty good game. He had 75 receiving yards and 53 rushing yards on the day. So I mean, that's pretty exciting. I mean, you still saw their playmakers. Keyshawn Booty had 66. Hunter Henry at 64 and a touchdown. Drake May is really taking strides as a quarterback. I mean, he looks really good. So even though he took 5 sacks and threw a pick in this game, but I don't know. I think this game says a lot more about how good these defenses are than the offenses. I mean, you win a game 16-3. I mean that shows that your defense is up there with any in the league, and if your offense has an off day, they're good enough to get you the win as long as the offense, I guess, shows up at some point.
I mean, you would hope the
Right.
offense would show up at some point,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But I
yeah. I
mean,
mean, yeah.
you can't fault the defenses there. I mean, first of all, you can't fault the defenses, and the Patriots played just good enough to pull past the Chargers, and you got to question like why are the Chargers keep flopping like this? Like, what is their
In the
inability
playoffs, right?
to
Yeah.
build
It
a
feels like they had
true
a very
team?
yeah. I mean, it feels like they had a very good season. They were like right in the division race with Denver up to the very end. Then they lose to Houston. That was kind of like a reveal sign that maybe they weren't all that great. But even that game was
Well,
close. They
I don't know.
lost
I
by
don't know about
4.
that. Houston's a damn good
Yeah, they're
team.
a very
Like,
good team, and the Chargers are close. So I mean, it was still kind of like okay, they're still a real team. Then they rested their starters against Denver, so that second game really doesn't count. They fell short of home field advantage, but they looked just as good as any team in the NFL this year. Like or in their division. I mean, they were at some points I would say they were like better than Denver. Or at least just about as
oh
good.
well,
But I think
Denver has looked very suspect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the Chargers for a while didn't really look that suspect. They looked like, okay, they're a pretty good team. Denver's kind of looked like they've barely strung together some wins. They beat the Raiders by 3, by 7. They beat the Giants by 3 or by 1, and the most ridiculous comeback, they beat the Jets by 2. They struggle with these teams like all year long, but they were able to find ways to win. They beat the Chiefs by 3 after what their third string quarterback, or oh, you know that no, the first time they beat them by 3, but they beat the Commanders by 1. Yeah, they beat the Raiders by 3, by 7. I mean, Giants by 1, Jets by 2. Um, yeah, and then the Chiefs by 7 the second time when they had their third string quarterback in the lineup on Christmas Day, which was very uninspiring. So they've just kind of been an uninspiring team. But I mean, Chargers have fallen flat in the playoffs year after year. I mean, going back to the 2010s, going back to Phil Rivers, like it's just like is there some like it's called chargering. Like I mean, people like know like what the term is. When the Chargers do that because it's just been going on for a long time, and I kind of thought that this year might be different, but at the same time, the Patriots are a very, very good team this year. They're very real, and for them to be able to turn things around this quickly, I mean, like for last year they were like just about as bad as New York. I mean, they were like one pick behind them, and Drake May. I mean the turnaround that they've had in 1 year is just like, I mean, it's just like sensational. I mean, they were one of the worst to one of the best in literally one season.
I think NFL fans should be groaning about the fact that we're going to be seeing the Flying Elvis as a Super Bowl contender for the next 10 years with Drake May at the helm. It's like, not again, not
I know, like
again.
I really enjoyed when the Chiefs kind of like unseated the Patriots, and then I guess
But then the
I don't
Chiefs
know.
became the evil empire,
Yeah,
so it's
and
like
then it got pretty old after, like, I guess a few years of it, and then, now it looks like maybe the downturn of the Chiefs, but if the Patriots end up, like, right back there, it's like, "Oh my god," like, you know what I mean? Like, we just got out of it, everyone's happy, the Chiefs, and then now the Patriots coming back and becoming the new evil empire again, like, I don't know, this team feels a little different, like, it's kinda, different makeup, so we'll see. I mean, they're very early
I
in
will
this
guarantee you, no, 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 no. I will guarantee you that if the Patriots win like two Super Bowls, we're gonna be groaning about them in
Oh, for
3 years'
sure.
time.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah, yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how it always works. You get
They were
one
just
Super Bowl
yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know?
Because the Chiefs won like what 2 in a row and almost 3 and like like right? Yeah, and then well they
Yeah.
won a few years ago and then they won another 2, fell short of the three-peat, and then this year they just crashed and burned. So I mean it was just so they got the 3 and 5. They kind of got their dynasty, but then like it just seemed to like collapse like very quickly after that. But New England was like the dynasty before. They won 3 and 4 years and then again 3 and 4 years after that, and yeah, the 6 wins, 6 Super Bowls in the Tom Brady era, the 34-28 comeback, and then obviously Brady wins one with Tampa, and then the Patriots kind of just like went out into the horizon, and they're after a few rough seasons. I mean they're back in a big way, but I guess this kind of brings us to their final game of the wild card series. Texans Steelers. This one we kind of mentioned wasn't
Actually,
like
you know what? Arnav, can I take point on this one?
yeah
Because this was me watching the Texans Steelers, you know, because every time that the Steelers offense took the field, I knew I had a chance to go to the bathroom because they weren't going to do
yeah
anything.
literally
How does a team generate? How does the Steelers defense generate three turnovers and the Steelers can only put together 3 points? Like you are still a 10-7 team. Three turnovers should at the very 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 least
right.
translate into 10 points, you know? But they couldn't get anything going.
Anything going, none at
Like
all.
I
I mean,
understand
it's
the
yeah,
Texans defense is legit, but they could not get anything going and they looked like they were ready to hit the bus the second they hit the field.
yeah. I mean, they went up. I mean, it's 3-0 early, but then I mean, they were down 7-6. It looked like they had a chance, but the offense just didn't give them anything all night. Like, I mean, and then the fourth quarter, I think the brakes just fell off the bus completely because I mean, Aaron Rodgers gets strip sacked, returned for a touchdown, and Houston just takes over. And then the pick six at the end of the game. But I mean, that game was that game was over way before that because Pittsburgh could just not get anything going on offense even before Houston really started scoring, and wrecking havoc on Aaron Rodgers. Like, I mean, if it's, they were just not getting anything on offense the whole night. I mean, you have two field goals the whole game, can't do anything else. And Houston for a while couldn't really do much, but eventually they did. They took over the game for good. But that was just kind of a snooze fest because it was just a lot of defense, not a lot of scoring going on. And eventually Houston just puts them away and, proves that Pittsburgh was the frauds that we all knew that they were. Like, we knew they really didn't have much of a chance in this game. And the Texans defense is very legit, obviously. I mean, they were, very suffocating team. CJ Stroud played pretty decent, all things considered, in this one. I mean, the offense did pretty good, but Christian Kirk and Jaquavius Marks both had really good games, over 100 yards. But I mean, yeah, the defense is really the story of a strip sack. You have a pick six, and you just yeah, I mean, strip sack, pick six, and you just really prevented Pittsburgh from getting just about anything going the entire night. So I don't know. I mean, that's the end of the Tomlin era. I mean, Tomlin has stepped down as the head coach now of Pittsburgh after 19 years. I think that's something noteworthy in itself. I mean, I guess, he never had a losing record, but lately it's just stagnated. They had not won a playoff game in 6 seasons. I mean, yeah, like, where does the Steelers go from here? Because it feels like it's been like the same movie for the past years. They barely sneak in the playoffs. They lose the first game on wildcard weekend year after year after year. And this year, just, each year it's like they're getting worse too. And, this year, just like, I mean, yeah, it was a complete disaster once they made it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree, but they're always a complete disaster when they make it to the playoffs. It's just like every
Yeah.
time they get in there, they get smacked around by somebody. So, like,
Like the same team
first of
every year,
all,
like I said.
first of all, this is my gripe with the seventh seed. Has the seventh seed won a playoff game yet? I don't think it has. And
Yeah.
and if they did, they
I think
won one.
one year the Packers beat the Cowboys and then they lost
Okay,
to San
okay, so
Francisco.
the seventh seed has won one singular playoff game out of like 14.
Right.
I don't think there should be a seventh seed.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the old format with the six. Like, throwing
Yeah,
in number seven has not been competitive in most of these games either. Although this year the Packers, I guess, put up a good fight against the Bears and they won that one against the Cowboys. Upsets are always there for the taking, I guess. But seven seed has really not done good. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, if you're not top six team, like, probably shouldn't really be in the playoffs. Is like my opinion, but I think, like, the results have really shown that more than me just saying that off the cuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just have not been very competitive. And Pittsburgh has just been, I don't know, usually they've kind of gotten in as the four or whatever, but I mean, which was the case this year, but they just haven't really looked good in the playoffs, like in recent years. I mean, they've just fallen they've just fallen short. They've barely made it in there to begin with, and nobody really expected them to do much of anything, because they barely made it. And then obviously that
that's the same
they
script as
haven't.
last year. That's the same script as last year.
Yeah, like last year they made the playoffs. They lost in the first round to Baltimore. Did not look good. The year before that,
Yeah,
Buffalo. The year before that, Kansas City. The year before that, they lost to Cleveland. The year, and a few years ago, before that they lost to Jacksonville. Before that, they had some success, but like these last like 5 years have just been barely making it to the playoffs, losing in the first round unconvincingly. It's just like at some point you got to make a change, and that's what Pittsburgh did. That's what Baltimore did too, actually, getting rid of Harbaugh despite his long run of success. And the Giants have made that official now that he's officially the next head coach of New York. So that's obviously very exciting. You have a proven Super Bowl winner, someone who can work with Jackson Dart. I'm very excited about that, honestly. Like, John Harbaugh, the next head coach of the New York Giants, because they needed a change too, and you bring in someone who can provide that stability. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a while since either of these teams have really been that successful, like Pittsburgh, Baltimore, but they've always been in the conversation. They've always, they have stability. They've always been like upper tier teams in the league. They've been pretty good, and to bring in a proven winner like that, I think that's going to be a good thing for the Giants because they have the foundation now, like, in place. With Jackson Dart, with their defensive core, they just have not. Yeah, I mean, they just haven't been able to put it together recently. But now, I mean, even with their rookie quarterback, with the talented defense, injuries have derailed them. But I mean, the Giants have just been stuck in the mud. Hopefully, this is the guy that can help them get out of it.
Yeah, you talking about the Giants getting out of a rut?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't,
you wouldn't count
you
on it,
know,
right?
I wouldn't count on it. You might make the playoffs, but I don't
Yeah,
think you're winning the Super
like
Bowl
we
with
did.
them.
Yeah, like we did a couple years ago, and but
I
in the
don't. I think you'll make the
first year
playoffs.
Brian
I don't think you're
Dable,
gonna win a
but
Super Bowl.
right. But I mean, I feel like Harbaugh's like Dable. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like he brought them that little bit of success, but I mean, like
Yeah,
things
like
fell
I
off.
said, you'll make the playoffs. You're not winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think Harbaugh can bring some stability though. Like really do this the right way because they have the foundation. They have offensive playmakers coming back. They have a really good D line. They have a young quarterback in Jackson Dart. So a lot of the pieces are there. I mean, it's just a matter of like coaching because the defensive coaching's been horrible. The coaching in general hasn't been good. I mean, Jackson Dart was taking a lot of hits. Like nothing about they were blowing double digit leads. Like nothing about the coaching was screaming like winning franchise. And here's a guy that has proven that he's done it. So hopefully they could at least get the Giants back to some stability. I don't really see them going to the Super Bowl either. I think you're right. They might make the playoffs. It might take a while, but I think they can get back to respectability with a guy like John Harbaugh, who's been a proven winner in Baltimore year after year. Has had that stability. They made the playoffs. They won the division multiple years. Or yeah, they've been one of the top teams in the AFC. They haven't really been able to break over the hump, but the Giants are just looking to kind of get out of the mess that they're in. And I think he's very solid hire. He as soon as he was available. When Baltimore, fired him, they were the top team, in pursuit. They had him for a visit, so very happy to see that get done. Late last night, around midnight, actually. So I mean, yeah, I think he was their top
Yeah,
guy all
really
along.
late.
Yeah, it was actually right around midnight. I mean, he was their top guy all along. People are like kind of upset that he left without a deal, but now they got one. So I mean, he's it's official. Yeah, I mean, looking forward to seeing him on the sidelines. But a lot of head coaching changes, I guess, recently. But I guess the final thing that we were gonna do on this episode was just to preview the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. 4 games this weekend. I'm starting with Bills Broncos is first on Saturday. That's going to be a very exciting game. Honestly, I mean, I think both of these teams are very good. I don't know. I mean, Denver's been kind of shaky-ish, but they have a very legit defense too. They have a quarterback in Bo Nix who can ball. I mean, Denver's had a good season this year. Um, they're 14-3, but Buffalo coming in now as a wild card. I mean, they got out of a very tough game in Jacksonville. I mean, can they keep this going? I mean, it's going to be exciting to see how this game goes. I think Buffalo's a better team. I think they should win, but there is a chance that Denver puts them to bed and makes the AFC Championship game in what would be a throwback to mid 2010s, I guess, with Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I think Buffalo is just coming with too much momentum right now. I'll
Yeah,
take Buffalo to
yeah.
win.
Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like after you beat a team like Jacksonville, who's going to be able to go stride for stride on the road, you come in. Denver's also sitting on some rest. I think Buffalo, yeah, I think they have too much this year, and they're just also on a hot momentum streak right now. Broncos really aren't, and I think Buffalo has more offensive firepower. So yeah, give me the Bills to make the AFC Championship game. Should be an exciting one though. I mean, Broncos very good. The night game, a rematch of a game that happened a few weeks ago. Niners taking on the number one Seahawks. It really does feel like we are in the 2010s again because it's like all these teams that used to be good back then, even in the NFC. I mean, I was talking about the AFC, but I mean, you got a divisional rivalry. These two teams have met in the NFC Championship game. Seattle's been to the Super Bowl. San Francisco's been to the Super Bowl more recently. But I don't know. I mean, San Francisco, like after Kittle got injured, their defense is very banged up. I mean, they barely scraped through a win in Philadelphia. A very uninspiring Philadelphia team. They barely beat them. I mean, we saw the game against the Seahawks a few weeks ago, where Seattle won 13-3. I don't think it's going to be too different, especially in Seattle. I mean, I don't see the Niners being able to produce enough offense to beat the Seattle team. I mean, they barely did it against Philadelphia, which is also really struggling offensively. I don't see them being Seattle, especially in Seattle when they just lost pretty convincingly like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think like 49ers, sorry, your run comes to an end here. Like, I don't see any possible scenario. I mean, yeah, you play the game, but
Right, yeah.
eh,
I don't see it.
logic is not on your side.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but, yeah, it just doesn't look like it, but, I mean, I know I didn't think they would beat Philly, but Philly was very flawed. I mean, Seattle's not very flawed at all. They're looking very, very good. Like, this could be their year to go back to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, I think the run stops here. San Francisco's, I think, too flawed, too injured to beat, a Seahawks team that's rolling. Texans versus Patriots is gonna be a very interesting game, and both these defenses were, tormenting their opposition, and now they meet. So this one's going to be which offense could really get off the ground first. I mean, New England's looked good all season, but Houston seems like they're coming in with some serious momentum. I don't know. I mean, I feel like this one could really go either way. I mean, you know what I mean? I think the Patriots could win it, but I could just as easily see the Houston Texans win it. I see this being like a one-score game. Probably whoever has the ball last probably gets the win. Like it's probably going to be one of those types of games. It's going to be low scoring, but whichever offense can deliver in the heat of the moment. Like I don't know. I mean, I
But
lean
it
towards
also
the
depends on
Patriots.
which CJ Stroud we're gonna get. Because if we get what
Yeah,
happened last game, I think the Texans are gonna get destroyed. Because
that's true. He didn't really play too well
no,
last
he
game.
didn't play
Yeah, he
great at
was really
all.
struggling. Like he even
3
snaps.
turnovers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. He fumbled
you
a
know?
snap. I think he had an interception. Um,
Yeah,
so I
I believe
mean,
there was
yeah,
another fumble too.
yeah, he was fumbling, I mean, multiple times, like, they even had to work on it in the sideline, so Drake May's been on fire, I don't know, I mean, I like the Patriots in a close game here, honestly, because I
Drake
think
May.
yeah, Drake May, or whatever people are saying, but, like,
Drake May.
right. Where did that come from? Like, there's gotta be, like, a meme.
It started with that one guy who did it for, he did it for a Giants offensive lineman. He started with,
Oh, Evan Neal.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that
Evan
now.
Neal, like, and then Drake May, like, took it over, but, that was where it
Weird.
started.
Oh yeah, so that's interesting. Yeah, I remember the Evan Neal, and then people now have been saying Drake May. So like yeah, no, he's been cooking. Like I mean, both these defenses are very good, but I mean, let's see which offense can deliver. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just don't really trust the Texans in this spot. Like I like the Patriots.
Yeah, I like the Patriots a lot too. I don't I'm not I'm not so convinced that, they're ready to compete like that, the
Yeah,
Texans,
yeah, with the way their
especially after
offense.
that game.
Yeah, with the way their offense has been going. So the final one is going to be Rams versus Bears. This is another interesting one too. I mean, Chicago coming in with all the momentum against, with the win over Green Bay, but the Rams also survived a shootout. Their offense is rolling. I mean, this is going to be another fun game. I mean, it's just I don't know. I mean, I just feel like the one problem is the Bears, like, they kind of take a little bit too long to kind of get rolling, I feel like, which could come back and cost them because the Rams kind of got going right away. They still needed to hold on against Carolina, but I mean, Chicago's a very exciting team. Like, I mean, they could pull it out in the last minute, but I don't know. I feel like the Rams are the better team, but Chicago's playing with house money and momentum. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think I'm gonna lean towards the
This is
Bears.
gonna be probably the best game of the weekend.
Yeah,
This is
and
gonna be likely
it
the
is.
best game of the weekend,
Yeah,
you
it's gonna
know?
be a very good game. I think both these offenses are on fire. So I mean, this is gonna be a lot of fun. I think it probably comes down to the end. I don't know. I mean, I want to say the Bears win, even though I feel like the Rams are like somewhat of the better team. Like I don't know. That's also not really like that's also kind of questionable now after the way they played against the Panthers too. And I think the Bears just if they can provide that momentum, they'll be at home. I think that's gonna be a big factor in this one. I think Chicago can get the win, but they got to start early. I mean, you can't take the whole first half off against an explosive LA Rams team.
Right. Um, sorry. Well, the thing is, like, it's hard to describe my points here, but Chicago is just exciting. They're just
Yeah,
exciting, and the
yeah,
Rams are a very well put together team.
yeah,
Caleb Williams is in a renaissance of his career. I guess a sophomore stardom. I don't really know how else to put it, but he has gone from looking like a complete bust to all of a sudden he looks stellar, and that's because of coaching. Um, Two teams that are built very similarly, I would say. They do lean heavily on the run, both of them, I would argue, except for
Yeah, yeah, that's
uh,
true actually.
the Rams often opt to use a pass in short yardage situations. But it's going to be interesting to see. I still, as much as I really would like to see the Bears win, I think the Rams probably take this one home.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Rams are the better team too, but I don't know. It's just like how much can momentum get you? You know, you're playing with house money again. I mean, Caleb Williams is, as good as he's been inconsistent. I don't know. I think
Also,
I'm
it's going to
leaning
be in
towards.
LA, so
No, it's gonna be in Chicago.
it's going to be in Chicago.
Yeah, they're the higher seed, which could also
Oh well,
sway the
then
game in favor of the Bears, the home field,
yeah,
the
that's
cold.
probably that'll go well for the Bears. I still think LA is going to pull it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's gonna
don't
be
know.
that's
I
gonna be
mean,
close to call.
yeah, it is because I mean I don't know how far the Bears could really get. Like they're a good team, but they're playing with a lot of vibes and a lot of late comebacks. And I don't know if the Rams could just go from the beginning. I think they're the better team. They can get the win. I mean, they have Nakua, they have Stafford. They put together a 60-minute shootout over Carolina. I would trust that more than Chicago, but it should be a very
Yeah.
exciting game. Like I think the home field environment of Chicago, the Bears. I mean, that could play a big factor. I think the Rams are the better team, but we'll have to see. I mean, it should be a good one. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much like where we're at with this. So yeah, I mean
Mhm.
it's been a lot of fun. We have a big weekend of football ahead of us. All these playoff games, the Broncos, the Bills. I mean, Seahawks, Niners, Houston, New England, and finally LA, Chicago, and then the national championship in football on Monday night. But in the meantime, this has been another episode of Sports Vibe, episode 106. Enjoy all the football this weekend, and we will see you after that.
Have a good one, guys.